So, you've probably seen the headlines, right? The US government is shut down. But what does that actually mean? And, how in the world did we even get here? Let's dive in and break down the political gridlock that's brought Washington to a complete standstill. Yeah, it's official. The US government is shut down. And look, this isn't just some political headline, it's a reality, and it's got immediate consequences for a lot of people. Now, it's a partial shutdown, which means essential stuff like, say, air traffic control keeps going. But so many other government functions just stop. We're talking everything from national parks to federal agencies grinding to a halt. So, you're probably wondering, what is really going on here? How did we get to this point? Well, it's kind of like a perfect storm, you know? You've got some tricky political math, some really high stakes demands from both sides, and something new. A threat that makes this shutdown way different and, honestly, a little more dangerous than ones we've seen before. First things first, let's look at the timeline. Okay, so here's the shutdown so far, just to get us all on the same page. It kicked off on October 1st. By October 3rd, yeah, it was pretty clear this wasn't going to be a quick fix. And looking ahead, it seems like this stalemate is just going to keep on going. All right, so that brings us to the real heart of the issue, the stalemate in Washington. I mean, the big question is pretty obvious, right? Why can't they just pass a bill and get this over with? Well, it turns out the answer is complicated. It has everything to do with the unique and kind of weird rules of the U.S. Senate. So let's take a look at the numbers. Here's the current makeup of the Senate. You can see the Republicans have 53 seats, which is a majority. But here's the thing about the Senate. Having a simple majority, well, a lot of the time, that's just not enough to get big things done. And this is the magic number, 60. See, to pass a major spending bill, the kind that keeps the government open, you need to get past something called a filibuster. And to do that, you need a supermajority. You need 60 votes. So with only 53 seats, the Republicans just can't do it on their own. They absolutely have to get some Democrats to vote with them. And because of that 60-vote rule, here's where we are. Total gridlock. Both the Republicans and the Democrats have put their own bills on the floor, and both have failed. Neither side can get to that magic number of 60, so nobody can move forward. It's a complete standstill. Okay, so that's the how. That tricky 60-vote rule is the how we got stuck. But now let's talk about the why. What does each side actually want? What are the big disagreements that are so intense they're willing to shut down the entire government over them? So you've got these two competing agendas. On the Democratic side, they're really trying to use this spending bill as leverage. They want some big concessions on healthcare, things like subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, and reversing certain cuts to Medicaid. Meanwhile, on the Republican side, they're over in the House trying to draft a whole new bill. And at the same time, they're working behind the scenes, trying to convince just a few senators to cross party lines and break this thing open. But, there's something else going on here. This isn't just your typical shutdown. There's a new threat on the table, coming straight from President Trump, that really raises the stakes for everyone involved. Take a look at this quote from the president on Truth Social. He's talking about determining which agencies to cut and this is the key part, whether or not those cuts will be temporary or permanent. Now, this is a huge deal. In past shutdowns, federal workers were furloughed, meaning they were sent home without pay, but they always came back to their jobs. The idea that these cuts could be permanent, that's a total game changer. And just so we're clear, the White House is doubling down on this. This isn't just some off-the-cuff remark. The press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, confirmed that the cuts were likely going to be in the thousands. That creates a whole new level of fear and uncertainty for federal employees.
And this isn't just talk either. Actions are already being taken. The White House has frozen a massive $26 billion in programs. And these programs are in states like California, New York, and Illinois. It really shows they're willing to use this shutdown as a powerful political tool.
Okay, so we've got the political drama, we've got the frets, but what does all this fighting in Washington actually mean for the rest of us? Well, this is where we get to the shutdown's real-world cost. And believe me, it's a big one. Check out this number, $7 billion. According to an estimate from the firm Ernst & Young, that's the hit our economy is taking for every single week the government is shut down. That's not the total cost, that's the weekly cost. I mean, that is just a staggering price to pay for all this gridlock. So let's just quickly pull all this together. What's the real toll here? You've got a massive, multi-billion-dollar hit to the economy every week. You have hundreds of thousands of federal jobs at risk with this brand new threat that the cuts might not be temporary. And on top of all that, you have crucial government programs just frozen. And all of this really leads to one big, kind of sobering question, doesn't it? When a government can't even agree to keep itself open, what does that mean for its future? This is more than just another political squabble. It feels like a symptom of something much deeper. If our leaders can't agree on this, on just the basics of keeping the lights on, how are they ever going to tackle the really big challenges that are facing all of us? It's definitely something to think about.